So see how many 2-lane roads we have. Just select them. Okay. And let's see, based on the information that we have available, how many of them are one-way? We can, or which ones are one-way? We can select one-way roads. And 952 are one-way with 2 lanes. Okay, so this is the concept of filtering, very simple, similar to other platforms. Now, under each heading, we can search. So let's, I want to find, and when you're looking at the search capability is very powerful. You can search partially, or if your search term is doesn't contain, it starts with, and other options are available as you see here. So I want to find anything that contains KERRA. Okay, and you see, as soon as I type, it filters and brings up any road segment that contains KERRA as part of their name, right? Goes back to the grid. So, or I want all of the rows that start with now KERRA. Does it make sense? Can you please do exactly what I did? So bring up all of the roads on the grid that start with KERRA road. The one important thing, this search is case sensitive, and all of the name descriptions, all of the descriptions in TES are capital. So whenever you're doing any search on the description, turn on your caps lock or hold the shift key. I want to know another example. I want to select all of the KURA roads. They go here, contain KURA. Up in here. I don't know why it doesn't do the search here. But I have another trick. We want to select all of the KURA, we can use the filter, but it's for those that are familiar with the concept of pivot table in Excel, this is a very similar concept. I want to, there are cases where I want to group the information and look at the summary of the information. For example, I want to know in our database all of how many pieces of road belong to KURA, how many belong to KENRA, and others. It's just a matter, you see an area up here on the screen that says drag a column header here to group by that column. So I take this jurisdiction and take it to that area. And if you do that, you see that they are grouped by that column. I see that there is an error. It doesn't show the exact name, but maybe Amir can help me with that. Or I want to know all of the number of lanes. I can take it up there and it shows me number roads with number of lane 1, 15,694, number of lane 2, 14,277, and total is 29,972. So if that's the question, that you can do this. And then if you say, what's the distribution for only KURA? You can filter on KURA, and you will see that under KURA's jurisdiction, 1,597 are 2-lane and 14 1-lane. Can you try to replicate this on your end? So on the grid, select only roads under KURA, and then number of lanes, you group by number of lanes. Basically, I click on number of lanes, drag it, put it up. I give you a minute to try to replicate what I did. Aska, can you please give me some feedback?
They are still trying out, so give them some time.
Thank you. Folks, if you have any questions, just ask our team on the floor, or feel free to ask me.
Pedram.
Yes.
There's an issue. They drag, for example, the jurisdiction column. If they want to sort the,
I see that. Right.
It shows a code, letters instead of.
I understand. Yeah, I saw that. That's a bug that it has to be fixed. I don't know what that will get fixed, but use number of lane for the header. You see, that one worked better. Or let me see what happens when we are doing the direction. This is a bug that is giving the code, not the label. So this is a very easy fix. It will get fixed. then you go to number of lanes.
Pedram, you can carry on.
Very good. Thank you very much. The other item I want to talk to you is about going to, let's go to the road segments here, the map. When you go to the map, click on the show on the map, there you have some functionality as you see on the left side of the window. The top two are to zoom in, zoom out. Now I'm zooming in and we can zoom out, right? This shows the layers. Lines are representing a road segment and the dots are presenting an intersection. The next one is a very cool feature in TES where we can select the corridor. Let me give you an example. Your project is to know number of crashes along a corridor, and a corridor is defined by a combination of road segments and intersections. Or you received complaints that there is a piece of road that the speeds are too high, and you want to review that corridor. Or the project is to widen the corridor and you want to do some collision analysis on that corridor. And that's where this polygon selection tool comes very handy. So if I click on this, the mouse cursor changes to a plus, and I can start creating a polygon around the area or the corridor that I'm interested in. It's a very similar concept to AutoCAD if you use AutoCAD. I'm assuming most of you are engineers. Perhaps you've used AutoCAD in the past. It's the same concept of site select. It's selecting elements in AutoCAD. We do the same thing. So I click, it will create a dot. I will create a polygon around the corridor I'm interested in. Go here, back, all the way to the end and close it off. Now, that area that I selected, highlighted, and if you see that infrastructure up here, if I click on it, the application shows me all of the infrastructure elements that were part of that selection, and they were selected on this grid. And we have an exercise on this that we will do as part of the hands-on exercises of the training. Okay, so let me go back and do another one. And clear this filter here. Go to the map. Go to an area of the city. In fact, I will select an area here. See, the area is selected. Infrastructure. It will show me all of the intersections and road segments in that area that I selected. Okay, please practice that for a minute or so. And after that, we're gonna try to do the questions together. Aska, can we proceed?
Give us a few minutes. We try using the
Sure. Perfect. Thank you.
Pedram, you can carry on.
Very good. Okay, folks, let's look at the questions that we have. I'll leave out number 5, and Amir will look at number 5 in conjunction with the collisions, because more about collisions. The first one, the first question is, how many road segments are currently under construction? So I think we have a column that presents the road surface. I think, so if I go to road segments, always the first question that you ask is which column I need to look at, right? So that's the main thing. So now that I go to this question, how many road segments are under construction, we need to see which column first we need to look at. So wait until it pulls the data. Okay, so if you look at this column surface, I believe one of the attributes is it there? No, which attribute was it? Yeah, surface condition. Under surface condition, one of the attributes is under construction. So this, at the time that data were provided to us, they were under construction, I'm assuming. So if I filter this, we will see that 395 road segments are under construction, only using the filter. So the column is road surface, condition, filter it, under construction, and the number is 395. Okay, see if you can get the number. Are we good?
Yes, we can move to the next question.
Thank you. So next question is, how many two-lane mid-blocks? A mid-block is the same as road segment. Basically, how many two-lane road segments with asphalt surface does your municipality have? I know you're from the different organization. Assume you're all from KURA. So the question is, how many two-lane road segment with asphalt surface does KURA have? Change it to that, basically. I'm not gonna do it. You guys try first. Based on what I see, we need 3 filters. Asphalt surface, KURA, and two-lane. Are we in a good shape? I'm sure we are.
Yes, yes, you can proceed.
Perfect. Okay, so let me do it on my end too. So I'm looking at all of the KURA roads, mid-blocks that are asphalt. The road surface is asphalt and they're two-lane. And there are 760. Okay, that's I'm assuming that's what you had as well. Okay. So the next question, I think it's now trivial. Once you did this, the next one is been addressed as well. So choose only mid-box, or which are road segments under the jurisdiction of KURA. So if you've already done more complex than that, so I've moved the filters back, all of the road surface, only filtered on KURA. Right? The only filter that we have is jurisdiction is KURA. And we have 1,611 road segments under the jurisdiction of KURA within the Nairobi area. Okay. So now, because this one was easy, let me do another thing here. Let's select all of them. So how do you select all of them on the grid? You just click on this, the toggle beside description. All of them are selected, everything. Now let's show them on the map. So let's show all of the KURA roads on the map. There you go. All of the black ones are KURA roads. Right on. So basically, based on what I see, they are more arterial type roads. They're not local roads within the city. It's more higher level roads. They're not like KERRA that connect different cities. They're more within the Nairobi area. They're not local, higher level roads, if it makes sense. Yeah, I'm sure that this application can be very helpful in your day-to-day job to make roads safer and better. This is fascinating to be in charge of these roads. Wonderful. Okay, let me go to the next question. Find the intersection of City Park Drive at Limoro Road and identify number of collisions occurred at this intersection. So that's a very typical question that you may receive in your day-to-day. Oh, what's the number of crashes at this location? Let's see how we can do it. So the location is intersection of City Park Drive and Limoro Road. Okay, so the first thing you do is to make sure that we are showing the intersection grid, because we work with the road segment grid a lot, but this question is about the intersections. So first thing we do, we go to the intersection grid, right? Try to navigate it. If I go to infrastructure, intersections, I see all of the intersections, right? And then starts, remember caps lock on, city, try to do it yourself, park, I found the intersection. Did you? You see the intersection is here. Are you able to find it? Once you find the intersection, just click on it. If you remember, I said when you click on any data record, it will open up all of the attributes associated with that record. Okay. Now, because we are looking for all of the collisions, you just need to go. This is the intersection, City Park Road at Limoro Road. You go to collisions, and we see that there's no collision. It's just there's no collision.
Pedram, you've typed City Park Road instead of City Park Drive.
You are smart, that's why. Okay. It's City Park Drive. Oh, City Park Drive. I apologize. Then if you go to collisions, we see, yeah, there are 4 collisions. And we can see the attributes of the collisions. One other thing, remember, there is another way to find this location, right? Instead of going to the data grid, if I knew where this location is, could have gone to the map directly and select the location and bring up the details of the location, just for your information. Okay. Is there any question?
No question at the moment.
Okay. Any comments, question, anything? Just ask away, please. So we covered some of the basic functionalities of the application. We now we know how to look at to pull up a location, look at the attributes of the location. We know some of the main functionalities of the application. The next step would be a more exciting step where we are looking at the collisions and we are doing more analysis with that with the collisions to support our decision. Yes, sir.
Sorry to jump in, but we have engineer Marine from KURA. Just wanted to say something.
Absolutely, love that.
Okay, one of the concerns we have is the identity of the reporting officer being shown. Whether that can be kept anonymous, especially for the users. That is all.
Yeah, we can.
Oh, okay.
Pedro, can I jump in?
Yeah.
So you talk about so the anonymity of the police officer, right?
Yes.
So yes, that's completely doable. So because what's happening is that so TES has a system called field level permission. So what we can do is let me share my screen and show you what's happening. And let me share my screen and go from there. So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So if you're an admin in the user management, in the roles, so what we can do is let's say that, for example, I want to see, for example, the KERRA, for example, or a KURA user, for example, let's say that the KURA users. So in the field level permission, I can select collisions, and then I can say that any of the details of the collision that I don't want them to see, for example, there's the name of the police officer, but there are lots of fields. I can say that they don't have access, they can view, or they can edit. So essentially, if I don't want users to be able to see the police officer, I can simply come here and say that, hey, for example, I don't want them to see the book registration number. I will put deny. I'm not going to change it right now. I'm just showing it to you. I'm not pressing save, but this is how it happens. So for example, in the remarks, for example, there are lots of information about different people, for example, collision, about, let's say, remark, the date of dispatch. For example, signed by a reporting officer. All of these ones, we can simply just put it denied. Or if you want any personal information from the collisions to be removed, I can simply say that, hey, for example, I don't want my users to be able to see the person's, for example, driver license ID or anything about the, for example, the vehicle. I don't want them to see the owner address. Simply, I will press deny, and they won't be able to see that. But they can see all other information with the collision. They can edit those ones if they have permission, but that's it. So TES will give you a really granular settings, who can see what and do what. So that's even on the level of the fields. We have a general settings and then a small on the fields. So go ahead, Pedro. I'm sorry, just I interrupted you.
Yeah, no, and these are all fluid conversations as we are going to the pilot. So this is great comment, and we can adjust it accordingly.
So we can do that at the power user or at the admin level. At the admin, I mean the organization admin level, or at the power user level?
Admin level.
Admin level. Okay.
Admin level is able to do that. So when they are defining users, they can adjust it as they want. Right now, you can see everything they are able to see because it's the pilot, the data into the system. If you notice, I will bring it up in the collisions, it's officer 1, 2. There is no names there. So essentially, this is a mock data. We wanted you to see all the fields and have a feeling how the data set looks like. And then based on your organization policy, we can adjust it, essentially.
Hello,
Pedram,
are you guys frozen? If we still have about 30 minutes to the break, and if Pedram, we've done with the infrastructure, I don't know if Amir can introduce us to the collisions, and then when we come back, we continue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So we are taking a break in half an hour. So Amir, please start the collision part and then take a break and we will carry on.
Okay.
Sure, definitely. And sorry, just Pedram, this is the questions that they have at the hand in the room. Are KERRA questions or NTSA erection? Do you know that one?
KERRA.
KERRA. Okay, good. So that's great. So let me share my screen and can you see my screen? So I stopped it. Just give me a second. Great. So let's start. So I believe that all of you are able to log in and you already have the system in front of you. So let me introduce myself again. So I'm Dr. Amir Zarinbal, and today I'm going to present the collision module of TES. So in order to open the collisions, look at the left navigation panel. As Pedram mentioned, this is the main kind of menu in navigation here. Click on the collisions, and you will see that the collisions will open. And you have a couple of different tabs, and based on your permission, you may see different than the menus that you are seeing. But you should have the collision table, a collision menu here. I'm going to click on the collision entry, and it's going to load the collision data for me. And as Pedram mentioned, you can see the grid here in all of the pages, and this is the main source of the information. So you have right now, based on the work that you did on the infrastructure. Sorry, just looking. Based on the work that we did on the infrastructure, you will be able to simply filter and do lots of other stuff. So let me go ahead and start with what's the meaning of each of the icons in the page, and then we'll dive in to see what are the collision data that we are collecting. So on the top left, you can see that there's a menu, that this menu on the left has the show map, the report view manager. If you bring your mouse on top of each of them, it will show you what it is, if there will be a pop-up, and the reports. And on the right, you may be able to see add collisions. Based on your permission, you may not have the add collisions. Add collision right now, we opened it for some of the users to be able to see what it looks like. But at the end of the collisions will be added by police officers. Usually they will add it by tablets, but meanwhile, where they're getting the tablets and the deployment is completed, they may fill the forms, the actual paper forms, and then come here and add collisions. On the bottom, in the center of the page, you can see the grid, which has all information about the collisions. On the bottom, you can see the count, which is 212. Right now, I have 212 collisions in my system. These are a sample of data based on your previous days that TeamCon has put into the system, and you will have access to these ones. So feel free to go take a look. These are mock data. These are not, you can change it, you can apply changes, you can see how it goes and play with it. So don't worry about this one. On the bottom, you can see the filter bar, which if I do apply a filter, for example, let's say that I will click on the, for example, Joe ID and filter some Joe IDs. What will happen is that it will show me the filter that I applied. And you can see it's right now writing the Joe ID is any of 11167. And the other one is 11,208. And if I want to clear this one, to just use a clear button, I will clear this one because we're going to do some exercises. I want to make sure that you are familiar with that one. So go ahead and please apply some filter yourself and see. So before going there, let me just show you one other thing. At the bottom of the page, you can see the page number of the collisions per page. So right now I'm 20, I can press 100, and if I want to see 100 collisions per page, and you can see it's loaded here. And then here it shows the page number. So I can go to the next page or the previous page, or I can do all of these ones here. Again, the page. So I'm going to back to 20. For me, 20 right now is good. Or maybe even I will put it on 10 so you have a better, you can see all the components of the page. So please go ahead and try to filter the collisions. That's the first step that we want to do. We want to go ahead and filter the collisions that happened at intersections. In order to do that one, I'm going to know that the geo IDs that start with INT are the intersections. So I will say that, go ahead, let's do the geo ID. I will go ahead and, as Pedro mentioned, there's a kind of, there's a magnifier icon. I will click on that one, and then I will type int. And essentially, it will show me all the collisions that happen at the intersections, right? And you should be able to say how many collisions do you have at intersections. You can see here at the bottom, it's saying 41. So please go ahead and do this one yourself. So let's try to find all the collisions that happen at the intersections. So Aska, please let me know when the room is ready and they apply this filter. So Aska, please provide me with feedback if everyone was able to filter the collisions, or if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. So I will be happy to help you.
Give us a few minutes, Samir.
Sure, go ahead. Take your time. We are not in rush. We want to make sure that everyone has a good hands-on experience. And please, during my presentation, if you have any questions, please raise your hand. It will bring the microphone to you. Or you can, if you are online, you can type the question into the system here, and then it will be presented to you. You can ask me.
Have lights all day, intersections. That's what you want. That's one way. You can also use a filter. Let me clear this one. You can also apply a filter. You come here. You see this, and then what is it giving you? Okay. In this case, because it should give you, you see, like when you come here, it should give you, let me see, it should give you such options. I think depending on the field descriptions, you are limited on the kind of filter you can apply. Because I was hoping here it would show us contains, does not contain, equal. Let's refresh and see if we can do that.
I think if everyone is ready, let me know and I will continue.
Yes, you can proceed, Amir.
Sure, great. So let's go ahead. So that's what. So and the next part that I want all of you to do is you clear your filter. On the bottom of the page, on the right corner, if you scroll down, depends on your screen resolution, you can see there's a clear button. Please press the clear so that you can clear all the data here available to you. So were you able to clear your filter?
Yes,
So can I proceed? Awesome, that's great. So I cleared my filter and now I should see 212 collisions available to me. So you should be seeing the same thing. So let's go ahead and review one of the collisions together and see what's going on and what's happening. So click on one of them. You can open any of the collisions that you want. Click on one of them. And you can see that the page is divided into different sections. And I believe in the morning, you have been presented to the mobile application. This is exactly the same thing, sometimes with more details. And as you can see, there is a general tab, there's a road tab, which general tab has the general information about the collisions. These are the information that you will see on the grid. So you have the roads that have the information about the roads that are available in that collisions. And then if I go to the vehicles, it will show me the list of the vehicles that are available there. And then there is drivers, which shows the information about the drivers. You can say that the drivers are information is here. And then, for example, the passenger will show the information about the passengers. And the pedestrians shows about the pedestrians, and people shows the summary of all the people who were involved in this collision. And if I go to the attachment, it shows if the police officer took a picture of the scene, you will see the attachment. Remarks have some information about the police information, the dispatch. And as you can see, my screen does not show all of them. You can see there is a scroll button under here, and there's a kind of an arrow to the right. If I click, it will show me more of this information. And you can see that there is a tab for change log. So the record is usually logged. If someone make any changes to the record, here it will be recorded that this person changed this value, this field from this value to this one. So you have a full history of what happened to these collision records. And the validation is for if we define some validation rules. For example, let's say that the collision severity is mandatory. And if this collision is failing those information, it will show up here. So the most important part for us right now is the general tab. And as you can see, there are two columns here as shown. On the left side, it shows a division. So these are the divisions. And right now, if you can see, let me unlock the road record. And you can see all the divisions in Nairobi is listed here. On the second row, I have accident registration number. This is a unique number associated with this collision. You can see that there's a number, and usually it's essentially starts with a date. It's 2021-05-21, and it happened at the 9:10 a.m. And we have the date and time here as well, but this is the time that this record was created, and you can see that this is usually a sequential number. And police can modify these values, but for you, these values is fixed, and you can see this is fixed right now. So this is the unique number that, so if you want to refer to someone, please take a look at this collision. You can provide them with this accident number, and then they can see it in the grid, and they can filter it or come here. The other way to share your this collision with someone else is to share them this link. You see that this link with this number at the end, this is the unique link to this collision. And if I want to send an email to one of my colleagues, say that please take a look at this collision, I can copy this one, and then, for example, open my email client and create a new email and send them. For example, I'm creating a new email, for example, and can say that, for example, Pedram, please take a look at this. Sorry, just let me type Pedram. Please take a look at, for example, collision, and I can send him this link, and he will be able to click on this link. And as you can see, it will bring it up to this page. So this is how you can share this collision with someone else. And remember, they need to have access to the collision module, and you should be able to see this one too. So you cannot share this link with public. They need to have an account on your system. The other part is the county. It shows the county of that this collision happened. And you can see a list of all the counties are there. I'm going to cover, there are lots of more fields that you may not be interested as engineers. For example, like the name of police officers or something like that. We will move forward. One of the more important fields for you is accident date and time. You can see that there is accident date and time. This is the exact location of accident nearest landmark. This is the place that the police described for you. And as you can see on the right side of the page, you will be able that this happened at Crossroad. And you can see the actual, you see that this is a crossroad, and the police mark this one here. You can see that this is the actual location that this collision happened. And as Pedram said, you can use your scroll mouse to scroll in and out, and you will be able to see the name of the road. You see that this is saying that the location is a road segment, the description, and the geo ID, the unique ID of that one. That's what you can see. And here in the bottom, you can see the GPS location. If I click on this minus icon, it will show me the longitude and latitude and X and Y coordinate based on the GIS. Well, usually you may not be interested, but anyway, this is available if you want to see. And this information comes from the police officers' tablets GPS information. And then you have the section that's called area. You have the initial impact type. I believe they talked to you about it. So essentially, it shows that what was the direction of the vehicles moving in the collision toward each other and how they hit each other. And one important part is the accident severity. So it shows us that what was the status of this collision. And this collision, you have different values. You have fatal, you have serious injury, you have slight injury, you have property damage only, or we may call it PDO for short. So we will call it PDO and other. And when you have a serious injury, it means that there was at least one person in that collision that has the maximum, has a serious injury, and there was no fatal. Or fatal means that there was at least one person in that collision that was fatal. And usually the definition is that after 30 days of the collision happened. So I believe that they presented this one to you in the morning, but it's really important. So do you know that this is not, doesn't present all of the people who were there. I mean, there might be multiple people at that location that were injured, or there was a slight injury, or there was a serious injury. And the other part that's maybe interesting for you is the accident type. And maybe the police cause code as well. So police cause code will show you what was happening. For example, it will give you some information. For example, the driver was fatigued. So, for example, turning right without due care. All this information is available to you, and you can see it. You can see that there is an accident site type. So the accident site type will be, was it as a junction or non-junction? And remember, this is based on the information that the police officer visited the site. So essentially, there might be discrepancy. And usually your source of information should be based on your GIS infrastructure. But you may want to consider what's happening here and what the police officer put there. And the junction type that they are mentioning was close to a roundabout. You can see that what was a traffic signal control? There was no traffic signal control here, but if it was a traffic signal control here, or a traffic sign or signal, you can see there was a giveaway, there was always a stop, no sign, no traffic light signal, traffic signal, police control, and other. And the traffic signal condition, you can see that there is operating or not operating if they choose that there was a traffic signal. And then, for example, road work at the site, accident site. So this is important. For example, if there is a collision happening at certain location and there's a road work at there, so you may need to consider that one. Or maybe you will do some reports on your system, say that, hey, for example, you can find a trend and see that when there is a lot of road works happening at different sites, then there were lots of collisions you're reporting. It means that your constructions contractors are not paying attention enough to the safety of the road users. So you may need to, for example, consider the rules there, or put inspection for the road for the contractors. You can do many other stuff. So these will collect all of the information for you, and then you can run queries. The weather condition, for example, clear, cloudy, foggy, rainy, and others. And for example, maybe you can find some trend. For example, at one road segment, when the weather condition is rainy, there will be lots of collisions. Maybe it means that the road surface is not properly, or maybe you need more illumination in that area, or I don't know, whatever you can see, and you can have your engineering judgment. And the same thing happens to the illumination. For example, they say that when this collision happened, what was happening? And this collision was daylight, or street lights on, or no street lights on, and others. And if, for example, you see that in a piece of road, you will see that there are lots of collisions happening, and there was no, for example, signal, for example, no street lights. Maybe the street lights in that road is broken. You need to contact your hydro companies and make sure that they are running. Or maybe if there's no traffic signal, traffic lights, sorry, there is no street light there, you may want to install it. So these are the fields that you may be interested. If I go to the vehicle tab, I can see that, for example, it's showing that what was the vehicles involved there. And you can see that, so there's a minibus, for example, was involved here. There was one vehicle. And you can see that there was one driver, 22 years male, and the problem here was that the driver was exceeding a speed limit. So you know that, for example, the speed limits, they were exceeding the speed limit, and that's causing it. And let's go to the passenger. There was no passenger in that vehicle, or the police didn't mention any of the passenger, but there was a pedestrian. Unfortunately, there was a 5-year-old girl that was seriously injured in that collision. So a minibus driver was going too fast, hit a person. And if I go here, you can see that this information for all the people are there. So essentially, the people is summary of drivers, passengers, and pedestrians, and it will bring the common fields between them. So because drivers usually have more information. If I click on add the driver, you can see for driver we have the vehicle, the address, age, and most important part is, for example, safety belt in use, driver's license. For example, driving license valid. What was the driver action and driver condition? These are really important fields. But a pedestrian doesn't have those information. The pedestrian, instead of driving license, they may have for example, the ID type. For example, they might have a national ID, passport, or anyone, and they might not have a driving license. That's why this is different, and they have different. And the driver, for example, pedestrian maneuvers are different than driver. For example, this one was, for example, running onto roadway, for example, or the person was getting on and off the vehicle. So you can see that the properties for a pedestrian or a driver is different, and that's why they have different tabs. But in the people tab, you will see all the information about that one, and you can see the injury type, the common fields, name, address is common, the injury, age, gender, nationality, all these information are common between the persons. And the rest I talk about it. So please go ahead, open one of your one collision and try to take a look. Pedro, can you tell me when is the break?
The tea break is at 3:30, so we have about, yeah.
How many minutes? Sorry. You mean 6 minutes, right?
Yes, in about 6 minutes.
Sure. Good. Please open one of the collisions. I want to assign you. Don't close it. Please open it. Open one of the collisions. I think it should be relatively easy. So go to the collisions, open collisions, click on any of the roads that you want, any of the collision that you want, and you can see it here. And once you have it open, I want to take a look at the top left one. There's a button called report. And you can see it. I will want to click on the report viewer. Just take a look at here, please. Please take a look here. So there's a button here, report. And if I click on it, it will show me export in Excel. We'll cover that one later. But let's click on the report viewer. And as you can see, sorry, just let me just look at another one. So just give me a second. Just go ahead and search for the other items there. We'll cover the report maybe after the break. So go ahead and click on different roads, different information, and please review one of the collisions or a couple of them and try to figure out what was those collisions.
Amir, there's an error with the report viewer.
Yes, so I will try to look into that one. I think we modified some of the fields and the permissions. I'm going to fix it, and then because we don't have permission to all the fields, it will give you an error. So just wait a second, I will fix it for you, and we'll talk about after the break. But don't click on the report viewer right now. Just go ahead and review it on. I will fix it.
Amir, I think we can proceed with the break.
Yeah, I think that's I was thinking about. Let's start with the break, and then let's continue with that one. Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
I think that's because if I want to go back and continue, I will take more time. So let's do this.
Okay. Okay, we'll be going for a 20-minute tea break.
Sure.
Yes, tea will be served right behind you here. But before the break, we would want to take a group photo at the right side of the room. So I kindly request all of us to move to that side so that we can have a group photo.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have 20 minutes for the tea break, so kindly proceed to this corner for the quick photo. Then you can head down for your tea break. Thank you. Engineers, kindly join us.
Hi guys, kindly get back to your seats so we can continue. Amia, are you there? Amia? Pedram?
Yes, sorry, ma'am, I was muted. So let's go ahead. Everyone is ready?
Yes.
Awesome. So let's go ahead. Let's go back, and we were here, right? So I want all of you to press the refresh button here to refresh your page, please. So right now I'm going to open another one. We fixed the permission issue for the reports. So if I open one of the collisions, any of the collisions you can open, I can click on the report and say that report viewer, and it will load me the crash, the Kenya crash report. On the top left, you can see that it's showing me the page numbers. So this is page number 1 of 2. And you can see here, it's showing me page 1 of 2. And then you can see here, I can go to the next page, back, first page, and last page. Or I can simply click on toggle multiple mode, and you can see multiple pages, and you can see that it will show me multiple pages at the same time. Or I can go switch back and say one page at a time. I can zoom in. You can see that I can zoom in. It will show me all the crash information for that one. And I can, if I want to share this one with one of my colleagues, or I need a printed copy, I will click on the print, and then you can see that the print preview of the page is open, and you can see that I'm able to print it. I can select my printer, and then, for example, I can print it. I'm not going to print it right now, but it shows the information. The second one is to
can I say something here, Amir?
Sure.
Just to emphasize, as I mentioned in the morning, one of the challenges that the police have been having is the generation of the reports on the crashes. And it essentially is a summary. It gives information on what happened, who got impacted, and so on. So one of the things that we're working together with TES is to come up with this summary report, which will make it much easier for the police to automatically generate their reports, and they can then forward this in a much faster way. And so the volume that they can handle in a day would definitely be higher, because the critical information that they want is already summarized here for them. Thank you very much. Continue.
No problem. Sure, definitely. That's totally the purpose of this software and everything, so that we have one location and it stores everything and makes your workflow much easier. And finally, we hope that the number of collisions will go down. I hope that TES can help you to identify the issues in your network, the black spots, the locations that they have lots of collisions, and you will be able to fix it. So I hope that the numbers goes lower, and the load on you and the police officers will go lower. So let's work together and fix this one together. So other part is, if you click on this, you see there's a button, say that save, and you can see that you can export the report to a PDF, Excel, Word document, CSV, image, all the formats, HTML. So that's something. So I'm going to click on PDF, and we'll generate a PDF of this one. You can see I downloaded the PDF, and the PDF is available. I can save it. I can, as you can see, for example, when I was clicking here, you may not see it. So here will show me the download page of that one, or you have, if you're using Chrome or Edge, on the bottom you can see there's one kind of a window opens and download. And I can say that I can save the file, and you can say this file is open, and I can even open it with my browser or anywhere else. Please go ahead and generate one PDF report. So everyone, are you able to do that?
Yes.
So can we proceed?
Can proceed.
Sure. So I'm going back, and let's do some exercise together. So as I talked to you earlier, I told you that the goal is to be able to, in order to, so what we're going to do is that we are trying to minimize the number of collisions. And you can see that this is right now in the storage for you, that store all the collisions that you have in your entire country and in your road networks. But usually we like to find the trends. We want to see what's happening in your network. What's the number of collisions per year? What's the top locations that they have lots of collisions there, intersection or road segments? So we need to answer this question to be able to have a good understanding of what's happening in your network. We want to know what are the intersections that are causing the most fatality or injuries, or maybe road segments that they have highest fatality or injuries. And we want to be able to find them and see what's going on there. So the first step, so to find out, to improve the safety of your road networks, is to do this one. As a transportation engineer, as a safety engineer, as an engineer, you want to be able to find the causes and try to prevent them. In order to do that one, we are going to solve a couple of questions together to have a better understanding of what's happening in your network, finding some trends and going in forward. So right now I opened the page that you have already open in front of you, and you can see that we have in the section 2, there's a question called collisions. And you see that the question 1 is that, what are the total number of collisions for intersections in the following years? Essentially, we want to find out what's happening in intersections over the years, the last 3 years. So I will try to solve the first one, then I will ask you to do the second one, the third one yourself. So what is the question? What are the total number of collisions for intersection for the following years? So I need to go to the collisions, open the collisions. I will make sure that there is no filter on my record. So if I have a filter here, I will click on the bottom right here. I will press clear filter. It's really important, all of you, click on the clear filter and do that one before moving forward. And then, as we know that the intersections, they have in the GeoID int. So I'm going to filter the GeoIDs that have int. And I'm typing int there, and you can see the collisions that I have are filtered. In total, in my database, I have 41 records of the collision at intersections. The second part of the question was saying that the following years. So I want to see what year it happened. So let me go ahead and see. I will go and find the what is the date and time, accident date and time. Let's find the accident date and time. Here it is, sorry. It's here. So I want to filter it based on year. And I want to see year 2019. And as you can see, I have 2 collisions here. these two collisions at 2019 it happened. So I can go ahead and write down here, I have two collisions at intersection of 2019. And obviously, this is not a real number based on your Nairobi. There will be more collisions in intersections than Nairobi. But as you can see, there is a sample of data entered to the database. And once we go to the full deployment, I think around September after police training, we will be able to you will see more collisions coming on, and these reports have more meaning for you. So please go ahead and do the same thing for the year 2020 and let me know the answer. So if once you find the answer, please raise your hand and Aska will bring the microphone to you and you can find it. We'll see that what's happening. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to do this task. After 2021, please go ahead and 2020. Do 2020, do the 2021. And if you have any questions, please ask me. I will be happy to help you. If you have asked questions, there are people around the room, they can help you as well. Thank you.
Anyone with an answer for 2020? Does everybody have 13? 2020 collisions.
So I'm going to show you how you can do it. So I'm going to the accident date and time, and I'm going to filter it for 2020, and then you can see that I have 13. So the 13 was the right answer. Thank you. And please find the 2021 as well. It should be very easy for you to do the 2021 right now. So I'm going to do 2021. As you can see, I have 9. So I'll have 9 here. So if everyone are able to do this one.
Yes.
Awesome. So let's move on to this question number 2. What are the total collisions and the road swing for the following years? So road segments, and the same. I will solve the first one, and then I will solve the first one, and then I will do the second one. So I will go ahead and I will apply it here previously. If I search here on int, Right now, it was bringing all the integer one, sorry, all the ones that they have intersections. If I click on this, you see there's a magnifier here. And if I click here, it will show me other options. I will say that do not contain int. And this will bring me all the collisions that are happening not in the intersection, but in the mid blocks. And as you can see, I have the year 2021. So technically, I solved it for 2021, and this answer is 36. So I'm going to put for 2021, 36. And for the 2019, I'm going back to the accident date and time, and will filtrate based on 2019. And I will remove the 2021. And my answer to the first question would be 17. So please go ahead and try to do the same thing and try to extract the number for the 2020.
Amir, you can proceed.
Sure. So what was the number for 2020? What did you get for 2020?
43.
43. Great. So let's see. Oh, sorry. Just need to put it in 20. 43. That's right. Thank you. Awesome. So now let's go to the third question. You want to understand how many injuries do you have in your network? Maybe you have a policy. For example, you change for example, right now your drivers can go and do a test, and then they will get, for example, not test, I mean, just kind of the driving test, and then they will be able to pass the test, and then the city test, and then they will get their driver license. But you may change it and say that, oh, we want to have a graduate system like what they did in Canada. For example, they say that there was lots of young drivers were involved in collisions. So what they did is that they introduced a 3-level driving license. You go and do first G1, which you do the the written test, and then after doing the written test, you will be able to drive with a person for that has at least 4 years of the experience of driving, and essentially the driving license is at least 4 years old, and they have a driving experience. And then you can drive for 1 year with them, and then you can do the G2 test, and you can do the road test and get the driving license that you can drive on the roads. And after 5 years, after 1 year up to 5 years, you can do one other round of when you do your final test, and then when you are admitted to the final test, then your driving license will not expire and you can drive easily. So that way they try to reduce it. And let's say that you introduce that policy at the end of 2019, and you want to see what happened. Did this policy that I introduced reduce the number of injuries in my road networks? Then the answer is that let's go ahead and see what's happening. So the question number 3 is that it says a number of injuries. So this question is a little bit tricky. Do they want the number of collisions that they have injuries in them, or they want the actual number of injuries? So a collision can have multiple injured people, and it's called as an injury collision, or there could be multiple people involved. So we are going to answer in 2 ways to this question. So go ahead and go to my collisions, and I'm going to clear my filter. And so that you can see that we have a filter, that the clear filter, and I have all of them. I have 212. And I'm going up to try to find a field that is called serious injury. And I'm going to, accident severity. You can see I'm going to click on this reverse triangle and choose the serious injury and slight injury. And I will press OK. And as you can see, right now, I have all the collisions that have serious or slight injuries. And the total number that I have is 144. So the question was asking me, what's the trend? What's the years? So let me go ahead and extract the information that I want. I will go in here and the accident date. I will put a filter and say that I want it to 2019. I will press OK, and now I will get the number of injury collisions. So I have 12 injury collisions. That's one way of answering this question. The other way of answering this question is that I want to know how many people were injured and how many, maybe some collisions, we'll have it there. So we'll go ahead to have multiple. So I'll go ahead, I will forget about the collision. Can you just please stop doing it, and then you can go ahead and do it yourself. I will go ahead and open another tab, which is called the people involved. And the navigation pane under collision, there's something that's called people involved. And I'm going to click on the people involved, and this one showing the same kind of view, but with different information. It has Joe ID, location, description, and accident number. And you can see this accident number is repeated 3 times because there were 3 people involved. There was 1 driver, and then there was one person who was seriously injured and female. And you can see the other information about the other person is missing. They didn't put the information. So each collision could have different. So these are showing the people who were involved in the collisions. And then you are able to, here, what you're going to do is you're going to filter based on the injury type. I will say that, hey, here I want the slightly injured or seriously injured people. I will press OK. And then I will filter it based on the accident date and time, and I will select 2019. And as you can see here, it's showing me 10. So there were 10 injured people. So the answer to this question is 12 collisions and 10 injured people, at least the ones that I have here. So we can answer this question in 2 ways. So is it clear what's the difference between these two for everyone? If you have any questions, please let me know. Raise your hands. I'll be happy to answer your questions. If there's no question, please go ahead and try to extract the same information. Number of the fatal injury, number of the injuries, sorry, number of the slight and or slightly or seriously injured people or collisions at this for 2020 and 2021.
There's a question.
Okay, thank you. I'm just wondering, I'm a bit confused with that answer that you're giving us. For us to get the number of injuries in the first instance where we got 12, we filtered with the slightly injured and seriously injured.
Yes.
And I assume the only victims that can be injured are people. So we have 12. And then now you go to people involved and you get 10.
Yes. So there should be at least 12. To the logic, it should be at least 12 people involved, right? 12 people. The answer to the second part that I said, and the people involved should be greater, equal, or greater than 12, right? That's your question?
No, I'm just wondering why the difference between 12, because in as much as the 12 is the answer we got under the collisions,
yes,
the injured can only be people.
No, see that here, there's a, so each collision have a different, so overall, the police officer will look at the scene of the, so when they're filling this information, they will go and take a look at the scene of the information. And then they will see that how many injured, if there was any person who was injured, they will mark that collision as an injury collision. Or if there was a fatal collision, they will mark it. So a collision have a property that's called, was that collision a fatal collision or it was injury collision. And that's why. So it means that each collision, there might be multiple people there that they were injured. Right?
Okay. Okay.
Does it make sense? So the injury could happen at the level of the collision. Let me just bring you one of these collision, for example. Let's say that, let me find a collision with multiple here. Just let me go ahead and try to, let's find serious injury. Let me open one of these records and show you. So this one, the information that coming from that grid is coming from the general tab here, and the police officer said that it's a serious injury. You can see there was a serious injury. And if I go to the people tab, I will see that how many people were involved, and you can see that this one. So there was one pedestrian here that was seriously injured. There might be multiple pedestrians that was seriously injured, but it doesn't change the outcome of the collision. The collision was seriously injured. In sometimes when you're doing the statistic, the number of people is not important. You want to see, for example, at the intersection. So there are lots of injury collision that's happening. You don't care about that intersection. You don't care about the number of them. If you want to fix that collision, you don't care about the number of the injured people. Maybe there was one collision that, for example, a bus driver will hit pedestrians who were a couple of pedestrians who walked there and may kill, unfortunately, 10 people who were at the crosswalk. This is quite possible. Bus driver will lose control. For example, they will lose their brake and they will hit a bunch of people at that intersection. But that was one incident. At an intersection, and if you look, that intersection, if you look based on the number of people injured, that intersection could look really bad because that intersection has 10 people, but it might be just the pedestrian driver's fault. And that's something that you cannot do. Maybe it was driver fault or the car's issue. But at another intersection, you may have 5 collisions that are happening, and each of those collisions, there was one person injured. Okay, so you have 5 injured people there, or maybe in one of them there was 2. For example, say that in total you have 6 injuries, but there were 5 collisions that happened. This will show that, for example, from northbound, the vehicles were coming. They will, for example, they were having lots of angle collisions. Means, for example, that intersection does not have the all-way stop or traffic signal, and that's causing lots of collisions at that intersection, and it will make lots of. So then you say that, oh, this intersection, there's an issue, and I'm looking at the number of collisions. There are lots of collisions happening at that intersection. It's not just one that was causing, for example, 10 people dying. There was multiple collisions, and it's because of my infrastructure. So as an engineer, I will go and fix that infrastructure and make that infrastructure safer. But again, I will go and take a look at the number of injuries and say that, oh, I have lots of people that are being killed by truck drivers. Okay, so what's happening? Oh, I need to maybe increase the inspection on my trucks. For example, maybe we can check every 5 years or not at all. So every year I will make a mandatory safety checkup on the trucks. Maybe I need to educate my truck drivers. Maybe I need to install, for example, in Canada and US, there was lots of collisions with trucks that were killing lots of people in one collision. And the problem was that the trucks were going really fast and they will lose control. So they will install speed limiters on the trucks. So the truck driver cannot go over the speed limit. Let's say that it cannot go over 120 kilometers per hour, 100 kilometers per hour. So you can see that based on what you want and what you want to do, you need to have different numbers and different values there. So that's what's happening and what is in different numbers. And based on what you're trying to solve, and you need to think about it. This is something that you, as an engineer, with your engineering mind, you need to decide. In this problem, I need the number of collisions, or in this problem, I need the number of injured people. And in some reports, for example, if you're reporting to your, I'm just giving more examples for you to understand. They said I'm reporting to the city, and I want to say that how many people are getting killed. Then I need to go and look at the people involved and try to get the number of people. But as an engineer, I'm more focused on the frequency of collision as one intersection, not as the number of injured people, maybe for different causes. Did I answer your question?
Sure.
Great. If you have questions, I like this question. That was a really great question, and I enjoyed answering it. If you have more questions like this, please ask me. We're here to help you to understand the data and try to come up with a solution for your network. We want to move in many countries, European, American, and other around Africa, and even in Asia and everywhere around the world. People are moving to something called Vision Zero, that they want to reduce the number of the fatalities and injuries in their networks to zero. And there are lots of steps that will happen. And if you search on the internet for Vision Zero, what actions are people taking around the world, it will give you lots of insights what's happening. TES will provide you with a single source of truth for you, with all the information collected in one place that you can analyze your data. And they use the TES software to find the spots that you have issues. I will show you in the next questions and next parts, I will show it to you. And then based on an engineering judgment, you try to solve it. I suggest all of you to go ahead and read more about this, Vision Zero, how we can reduce that one. Even maybe, for example, you can have some courses on about safety, and these kind of things will help you in your infrastructure, help to fix your road networks, the training of the users and everything. So that's how we are planning to do. Anyway, any other questions? So I'll put these ones for you. I think we spent enough time on these questions. I will put the 2020 and 2021 for you to do it on your time. So my next question is that, okay, just let me show you some information about the reports. So here. So now I'm back to the main collision page, and I'm going to clear a filter if I have. And then I want to see what reports I can generate. The first one, I want to see the collisions on the map, and Pedram showed you to here. So I can here, let me go ahead and find the, show these ones on the map. And I can click on the show map, and the map will open here for me and shows the collisions where the location happened. And you can see, for example, if I were, I was a traffic engineer, I will look and say that, hey, in this area, which seems to be a downtown area, I have lots of collisions. Maybe I need to inspect this area. Or for example, here in this corridor, you can see that here in this area, in this corridor, lots of collisions are happening. Maybe I need to take a look here, or maybe you can see here your concentration of collisions. These are the spots that I may want to go and take a look. And if I want to have this map ready for me, for myself to review or show it with my colleagues, I can simply, in the top of this one, you can see there is a tools. I can expand this one, and I can put I can export this to JPEG or PDF. I'll go ahead and put a title and say that collisions, for example. And then I can export it to PDF. I would select this time JPEG. I will press export. And it's working, it's exporting this map to an Excel, but it's a JPEG file. So I will wait here and we'll see the information. Just one way with this extracting all the information from your GIS. There are lots of components there and converting into the JPEG. Once I have this one, then I will be able to put this one in the reports. And you can see now it's ready. I can open it in new tab. You can see the picture is ready. And you can see it's ready for your report. And you have this. You can have the title on the top. It shows that the date is generated. What's the meaning of each of these ones? And you can see you have the scale on the map. So that's a map that you can have. And let me show you one interesting part. Let's go. I will close this one. I will try to go and filter based on fatal and injury collisions. And I want to see where those locations are happening. So I will go ahead and filter based on fatal and serious injury and slight injuries. I'll click on those ones. And now I will go and click on it, show on map. And now I will see there is a difference. Now it's showing only the fatal and injury collision. And maybe let me just go ahead and just do fatal and see the fatal collisions. Let me go ahead, for accident severity, just let's get the fatal collisions. You can see that now I have 61 collisions here, and I can click on the map, and now map will show me. So let me close this one. I need to deselect all these collisions first and clear it, select it again, and I will show on map. And now I can see the location that the fatal collisions happen, and I can go to the tools and, for example, export this one to a PDF and call it, for example, fatal collisions. And I can have this map ready. Not going to, I will click maybe as a JPEG this time as well. So it's usually faster to export in JPEG. And then I can export this one and have it there. And now I can open this one in a new file, and you can see that this is fatal collision and this is collision. And you can see I have different map with different locations that the collisions happen. So that's a good sign, and that's what I wanted. Another kind of report that I can do are the chart reports. I want to see the overall statistics of them. I'll give you time to play with it just give me some time to finish this one, and then so I can go ahead and select the collisions, or just let me clear all the filters that I have. Let me clear all the filters, and I'm going to deselect it, and can see that I have the 212. I want to see the chart reports, overall statistics. What are the top locations that I have collisions? So essentially, I will go ahead, select all of the collisions that I have. I will click on the report, and I can see there's something called chart report. And I will click on the chart report, and then it will open the chart viewer for me. It's a chart report, and you can see there is 8 pages, and we're going to add more for you as well. But here it shows the trend of the collision. You can see that in 2016, you have around, let me zoom in so that you can see better. You can see this is a chart. The y-axis number of collision here. The x-axis is year. And there are 3 series here: fatal collisions, property damage only, and fatal and injury collision. And you can see I had around 11 fatal and injury collisions. I had around 35 property damage collision, and my total 2016 is 46. And this chart is really good. I can see the trend. Oh, it's just good. The policies that I was applying is good, and the number of collisions is dropping significantly. So this is good, and this a small variation is normal because the collision is a random process. And you can see I was able to reduce the number of the fatal collision. The fatal collisions are showing the secondary y-axis. It was increasing, but my policies and responding, and the number of fatal collisions decreasing. And if I come down, there's a table summary. That summary provides the information that was available there for you. So you say that in 2016, there was 8 fatal collisions. There was 3 injury collisions. So there was 11 total fatal injury. And there was 35 PDO, property damage only collisions. And the total was 46. And now if I press this one, let's go here and see more pages. So let me come down and see more pages. So this one shows the same chart by the month of the year. So for example, if you see that, for example, in January, February, and March, you have a peak, it might be due to, for example, the weather condition, maybe because there was lots of rain happening or something in some areas, that might be the issue. Or you can see it by the day of the week. And for example, that's usual, because in Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is usually because there are more people traveling for work. Maybe I have more collisions. But at the weekends, I have another kind of peak as well, which makes sense because people may travel more there, or maybe I have more distracted driving or drunk driving there. The same thing happens for the time of day, for weekdays and weekends. You can see that the weekends have different patterns. There are more fatal total collisions at around 6 p.m., around the afternoon peak or evening peak. And then I think that today, TeamCon, they talk about the initial impact type. And you can see that I have road segments, initial collisions by initial impact type, and showing a nice pie chart and saying that, oh, in my road segments, I have lots of rear ends. And I have fewer angle collisions, which makes sense, and more approaching and side swipe and SMB, essentially the car. But if I look at my signalized intersection, I see that I have lots of angle collisions. That's relatively natural, because in collisions, different and in signalized intersection, cars are coming from different direction and they will have an angle collision. But there is a problem there. There are lots of maybe angle collision. Maybe it's because my signal timing is not right, and I need to investigate my signal timing and try to improve. Maybe I need to have better amber phase in one. Maybe I need to make it longer, or maybe I need to install some red light camera, because that when the car passes a red light camera, it will capture it and make people to do that. But if I install red light cameras, there will be more rear end collisions. Right now, I don't have that much rear ends. Rear end is the second one, but I need to see the consequences. And in more advanced training, when we are talking about safety module, you may have better understanding of what's happening. But these are the basics of the data that you need to take a look. The next chart is showing the collision by lighting condition, by location, and then you can see that it shows me the intersection with highest frequency of collisions. And these are the intersections that was showing previously. You can see that these are the locations, the intersections that have lots of collisions in the selected area. And the next one is the road segments with highest frequency of collisions in last 6 years. And there are more intersections in road segments involved. So this is the reports. And as always, you can export any of these results to PDF, Excel, image, as you like. So let me go ahead and export this one in PDF, and I will open it, and you can see that I have this one as a PDF. Or I have it in PDF, and I can export it to a Word document. Let me this time export it to a Word document. I will select the docx, and now I will have a Word document. Let me open the Word document, and I have these charts ready for me, inserted in the Word file, ready, just like a piece of cake. And then I can write my description, my analysis on top of that one, copy, paste this one, even in a new file. Let's say that, for example, I will cut this one here. I'll create a new file and put it in a new file, and I will write, for example, safety report. Safety report, and then I will put this chart here. Everything is ready. So please go ahead and do try to play with the map export and with the chart report and see what's happening there. Please go ahead and try to export, clear your filters, select all the collisions, click on the reports, and see the chart report, and try to see and export that chart report to a PDF for yourself. So I'm going to pause, give you a couple of minutes to do this.
Amir, we are good. You can proceed.
Awesome, that's great. So the next export that is really interesting and important is, so you can see the test provides you with some reports and some data, but you may want to export the data to give it to share it with someone else. For example, say that you have university or colleagues or something like that, or you want to do further analysis on your data. You're an engineer, you want to see a specific aspect of your data. So I will go ahead, and what I'm going to do is that I will make sure that I don't have any, for example, filter. I can apply filters, and then select all of them. And then on the reports, I click and I say that export as Excel. And I'll say that what I want to do, I will save the file, and then I will open it. And this one will open an Excel file that includes all the aspects of the collisions that I have here. And you can see that all the data that I had was being exported and released to the Excel file. And this is a really good tool, so that if I want to further information and I want to have extra report, I can generate it. And I can use Excel. The power of the Excel is with me, with my collision data. For example, if I don't need these columns, I can simply select the remarks and say, delete these ones for me. If I want to go ahead and do, for example, let's say that I want to do some analysis on what's happening and create some pivot table. I'm not sure if anyone in the room are familiar with the pivot tables from Excel. Have you ever used pivot tables in Excel? Okay, if you didn't use, please raise your hand, please. There should be someone who's raising their hands either way. So if you used it, you need to raise your hand. If you didn't use it, you need to raise your hand. Anyway, that's fine. So let me press it, and I will go ahead and select all the data that I have. Press Control-A double time. I will select all the data that I have. I will go to the menu here on the Excel. You can go to the menu Insert, and you can see there is a pivot table. And the first of this one, you can see I'm going to insert, and there is a pivot table. I'll click on the pivot table. It will show me a dialog box that where do I want to do and what's happening. So say that select a table range. I already selected collisions. And say that where do you want to have this one? I will say that creating a new worksheet for me. And I will say press OK. And now it will create this nice view for me. I'm going to expand this one here. So you can see on the left is where it shows my data. On the right, I have the pivot tables. And let's say that I want to generate a chart, a pie chart, that is showing the distribution of my initial impact type. And what's the initial impact type as my, for example, in my network. So what I'm going to do is that I will go ahead and find, you see it says in general that initial impact type, I have it here. And we'll drag and drop it in rows here. And we'll have it here. Then in the columns, it shows me what do I want for columns right now. I don't want columns right now. I want to find the values, and I want to get the account of the items, and I will choose the accident number. So here, and as you can see, this will generate a really nice report for me that has, for example, the number of the angle collisions, or sorry, just say that it's showing me the initial impact type, and it's showing me the number of them. And let's say that I want to have a nice chart showing this part chart showing this one. So essentially, I will click on this table here. I will go to the Analysis tab on the top here, and I will click the pivot table, pivot chart. And you can see it's showing me, I can draw a bar chart for it, but this time I want to have a pie chart. I will click a pie chart. Maybe I'll click on this 3D chart, for example, or maybe this kind of chart. I want it like this. And then I will click on it, and it will generate a report that's showing to me all of the information and showing the major ones, minor ones, and has showing the detail of this for me. Let's say that I want to, for example, filter this one based on the accident severity type. So I will put the accident severity type as a filter, and I just want to see, let me make this chart simpler. Let me go and make it even to design, and I will change the chart type. Where is that one in the analysis? Let's go ahead, change the chart type. I will change it to a bar chart. Let's go to the column chart. I'll press column chart, and I have the column chart. And you can see I have lots of pedestrian collisions. You can see it in one look. And let's say that I want to filter it based on the severity. I add a severity as a filter, and the top here is showing me the severity. And if I click on here, I can select the fatal injuries. And let's say that in fatal injuries, what's happening? And you see the numbers change. Now in fatal injuries, I have pedestrians, but head-ons and rear ends are the next two candidates for me. I can simply add it. This is a filter. I can simply drag and drop it as a series, and you can see that it will show me a really nice table. Let me click here. You can see that it's showing me the initial impact type based on different type of the collision. So say that, for example, in pedestrian collisions, there are lots of fatal here. There was no property damage only. There were 65 serious injuries and 5 slight injuries. And that's it. And it showed me the grand total. And even now, it will divide my chart nicely based on the severity type here. And you can see that I have a really nice chart that I can see, that I can talk. And as you can see that in my angle collisions, I have lots of serious injuries. In the rear ends as well. Maybe my drivers, for example, are not putting their seatbelt on, and maybe I need to have a policy for the seatbelts in the network and monitor them. Or maybe the cars are going too fast. There are lots of sites of serious injuries. Maybe I need them. The lines and the marking of the road is not right. So maybe I need to fix those ones. So we will give you lots of flexibility. And as you can see, the question number 4 is asking you export the fatal injuries and fatal and injury collisions occurred in 2019 in Excel. Please go ahead and do that one. I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that one. If you have questions, please ask me. If you want to get more familiar with Excel pivot table, go and Google Excel pivot table. And then this is a generic tool that have, and you can find lots of good articles from Microsoft, or even you can click on videos. And let's go to YouTube. Let's go to YouTube and do it on YouTube. YouTube is usually better. Let's go to YouTube and then search for the Excel pivot table. And I will be able to find lots of good tutorials that will show you that one. And you can see there are lots of tutorials. This is a more source for you to read and understand. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Hi, Pedram. Hi, Amir. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, we need to maybe wind up in the next 5 minutes
Sure.
to enable people to get to where they have to go very fast.
Sure, I understand.
We
So
may not
that's good.
be able to move forward. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I will move forward. That's great.
Thanks.
So the next part of this training is dedicated to a part called dashboard. So now, right now, what you have understanding is that you have a good understanding of to have a good understanding of the data, and then you need to have the good understanding of the data, what it looks like. The next part is the dashboard. And if you go to the collisions, you can see that in the dashboard menu, you go to the collisions, and it will provide you with lots of interesting tools that you want to monitor. As you can see here, it's showing to you the overview. There's 3 tabs here: overview, emphasis areas, and comparative. And as you can see, there's this tab, it's called severity. So these are the filters on the left. And on the right, you can see you have a chart that shows the trend. It shows you on the map where are these, for example, the location with the highest frequency are there. You can see that the road segments, the lines that are highlighted is there, and the green ones are the intersections with those data. And then you can see that the top 10 high frequency road segments or the top 10 high frequency intersections. So if I want to see that what are the intersections that I have lots of fatal injuries, I can simply click here and say, for example, fatal injuries. And it will show me the trend of the fatal injuries in my network and shows me, for example, the locations that they have highest fatal issues. And if I scroll down, you can see it here. And these are, you can see there are these 5 intersections. And as you can see, I'm able to see these ones here. And if I want to investigate them, this is a good starting point to investigate in these 5 intersections. I can say that, for example, I have a policy, I want to minimize the number of pedestrian collisions. I can simply just filter the pedestrian collisions, see how the pedestrian collisions are happening in my network. And now it will show me the trend of the pedestrian collisions. You can see that one. And this is an interactive map. You can bring your mouse on top of each of them and you see the values there. I can even export this chart to a PNG and kind of an image, or I can simply, you can see that I exported to an image. I will have it, so it's loading just because of the time I'm going faster. And then, or I can see the locations that they have lots of collisions there. And I can see here the top high frequency road segments and the intersections that have lots of pedestrian collisions. And I might be able to click on each of these ones and go and see the details related to that. I'll press the back button, going back here. And even I can set the time, date and time. For example, if I want to see, for example, from last 2 years, I'll put it 2019, January 1st, and see what's the trend. And you can see the chart will automatically update it quickly, and you can see the information and see the issues there. There's one other important topic that I want to talk to you is the emphasis areas. And usually as a transportation engineer, we want to do as a civil engineer, as a safety engineer, any other kind of engineering, we want to see we have a limited resources to allocate. We have a limited number of the people who have limited resources to fix things, apply policies. And we want to make sure that we are allocating our resources to the best parts. So what we are going to do is that usually we call it emphasis areas. We try to group collisions or that have same properties into one group, and then try to move it forward and try to see what's happening. For example, then the groups could be locations based on the actions of the drivers, based on the vehicle types. For example, I talked to you and gave you lots of examples. If I have lots of intersections, collisions, maybe I need to go and install always stop or a traffic signal like that. If I have aggressive drivers that are going too fast or they're driving really close to the next, for example, car. So maybe I need to apply some policies. For example, I will have policies that they're going out and do random spot check on the speed limits. Maybe I have lots of pedestrians. I need to educate my people. I have lots of young drivers. Maybe I need to set up some camps at university or graduate driving license system. Or I have lots of trucks, and I gave you lots of examples how to control trucks. So these are really important, and TES will help you to understand what's going on in your network. So if you go to the second tab and look at the emphasis areas, it will show you your emphasis areas here, and you can see what's happening in your emphasis areas. You can date and time, and you can say that, oh, I have, as we mentioned and saw before, I have lots of pedestrian collisions. I don't have that much issue with cyclists, but motorcyclists and aggressive drivers are really important for me. My old drivers are doing good, but my young drivers may need more education. This will give you an overview of your network and how to understand it. And you can say that I want to see what's happening in the injury collisions, and say that, oh, you see that in the injury collisions, even aggressive drivings are more important than pedestrians, because the aggressive drivers are causing lots of injury collisions. And if I include fatal, you can see that, for example, the pedestrian and aggressive drivers are really important in that one. So we need to investigate and maybe allocate some resources to do this one, do more education, more speed enforcement, red light cameras, all those kind of tools that you may have as a safety engineer, you may use them. And in the comparative will give you a tool, and if you apply a policy, you want to compare a before and after. So for example, before you apply that policy and after, you want to see what happened, and you can see that this chart, you can select the before time period and after time period, and the selected emphasis areas that you like, and then it will show you on a nice chart that what happened. So the policies that I applied was increase a little bit the intersection collisions, but it decreased the total number of pedestrian collisions. But as you can see, aggressive drivers are still increasing. So I need to do something about the aggressive drivers. So in the window of the 2015 to 2019, compared to 2020 to 2021, see that my aggressive drivers are increased. Maybe I need to apply some policies there. And on the bottom, you can see a really nice chart that's showing the before and after. For example, I can see that my before, I have, for example, 58 pedestrian collisions, but now I have 50 collisions. Well, as you can see, and there I have 14% improvement. But at the intersections, I had 19, but right now I have 31, and I have 63% increase in my number of collisions. Essentially, I had 6 setbacks in my safety performances. And you can see this is for all the collisions. Let's say that I want to say just for the fatal and injury collision. And as you can see, I was able to do for my pedestrian. I was trying to reduce the number of collisions. I reduced the total number of collisions, but still the number of the fatal collisions are increasing. And you can see that I have 52% increase in my fatal and injury collisions. So it's really important for me to investigate what's happening, why my policy didn't went through and went right. So that's what's happening. So this is the end of our training here, but you have more questions to answer. As you can see here in the questions, you will have the you want to report the number of the motorcyclist collisions occurred in the following years, and you can go ahead and use the dashboard and go to the overview tab and select this motorcyclist collisions and see what's the trend there. And you can see that I have 6 total collisions here. So I can simply write down here, I have 6 motorcyclist collisions. Or it's asking me for a list of the type 5 location, intersection, or midpoints with largest number of pedestrian collisions. I can simply go ahead and do this one with the dashboard really simply. I can go ahead and select pedestrians, and I want to see what's happening in 2019. And here on the bottom, it's showing me the intersection and mid blocks that they have these values. And the rest are the same. So for example, identify the road segments with highest collisions frequency, identify the intersection with highest collisions. And these are the questions that you can answer based on what I taught you. If you want, you can, it depends on the team, Dr. Okech's decision, you can go ahead and exercise those questions quickly, answer one of them yourself. And if you have questions, I'm here, or you want to wrap up the meeting. So Dr. Okech, it's up to you.
Hello. Thank you very much, Amir, thank you also, Pedram, and the team for just being able to take us through this. Given that we are just hitting the 5 o'clock and the participants who are here today, many of them have had to leave because of very tight things. I think that the participants generally have gotten a good gist of how this is moving forward. So I would like to bring this to close, but I would encourage each person to move forward and ensure that you do these exercises and complete them to be more familiar with the software, to be more familiar of how you can generate your reports, how the different ways in which you can get the numbers that you are looking out for. At the end of the day, it shows what a powerful tool TES software is in terms of the crash data analysis. We have talked about many things. We have put in just essentially the road network as well as the collisions. But as we mentioned before, you are able to put in much more, including traffic data, including even sign inventory, and because you can log in at any one time. Please do this to be more familiar with the software. So in closing, we just had some appreciation for you standing in here with us for all this time. It has been a long time, and we have electronic certificates that we are going to provide even as we finish up. We are still going to have them all printed out in hard copy and eventually given to you. But because our course is still going on and everything, we are going to have them printed later on. But we do appreciate the fact that you've been here with us throughout this particular time. So let's start number one. We want to start with Abdul.
Sorry, Dr. Okech, sorry, just let me just say something before you go there. So we recorded this meeting and we'll put it on YouTube. We'll send you a link so that you can go ahead and take a look later and review it to get yourself. And please go ahead and solve these questions. They're really helpful for you to have understanding, and we will have a more advanced training later on. But please solve these ones. If you have questions, we'll have team will provide some time for drop-in questions so that you can come and ask your questions, and that will help you a lot. Thank you very much, and I will say goodbye to all of you. It was a pleasure working and learning together, and I hope that together we'll be able to build a safer Kenya and roads for you, for the people. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amir. By the way, we love the test team here in Kenya in August. We hope to do some, we'll be doing the training for the police, but also we'll be doing additional training, more advanced training for admins, as well as those who can, those who want more advanced training, especially in road safety and the things that you are able to get out of TES. So that is likely to be in August. They will be here in August, so that interaction should take place around that time. So again, we fully appreciate that you are here. You are given some tablets, so maybe those can be taken back. But our team has also been circulating some forms that please you fill. It will help us gauge and it will help us assess how to organize the advanced training and the invitations that we will give to you to come in for the advanced training. Please fill that, as well as just your evaluation of the way that we have conducted this course. it will be very, very important for us. So with all those many words, as we finish up, maybe I'll let engineer to say one or two things as we give out then the certificates.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Akret. Mine is, first of all, to appreciate your team for the people who are here and the ones in Canada.